The XRP bear market is canceled. In today's video, I want to explain why we are not going to see a long drawn out 4-year bear market cycle like we have seen in the past. And this is not just a prediction from me. This is from the institutional fund managers that are literally in charge of opening up the floodgates and letting all of this liquidity pour in. So no, this current downturn that you've seen from XRP going from 360 to $3, this is not the beginning of a bear market. The bull run is far from being finished. And when this bull market cycle top does come in, are we going to see that long drawn out, misery and 4 years of struggle? I don't think so. And we're going to talk about it in this video with real data, real numbers. And once again, please stay tapped in with us because we're breaking this down for you guys on a daily basis. If you appreciate what we're doing, head on over to ZachRector.com. We have all of our community resources over there. And if you don't want to support us that way, we just ask that you please like the videos, share them out far and wide, and thank you so much for hanging out with us. Now, my apologies for not getting an update out earlier today. I had some business that we had down in Seattle, and so I'm just getting back to the office. Watched XRP in these markets throughout today. Really a low volume, pretty dead as far as the activity in the markets today. But we're going to take a quick look at it here as we get started. But I've been warning you guys about the aliens, right? Now, for those guys who don't know what I'm talking about all the potential black swan events and the catalysts that could lead to the markets coming back down. And we've ran through the whole list, right? The simulation events of 2020, the tariff war, World War III, all these different events, Elon Musk and Donald Trump getting in a fight, right? And now I've been warning about the last one that they have that they can pull would be the alien invasion. Well, here we go. And a huge shout to Savage Life. He tagged me. He said, Zach, you've been saying, and we have been, a mysterious intergalactic object could potentially be a hostile alien spacecraft that's slated to attack our planet in November, according to a new study by scientists. Now, I think that I've seen this fact checked, and I don't know if this is real. Is it fake? What are they? It doesn't matter, right? What matters is that they're going to use something like this. It's the last card that they have to pull. They will do anything to stop the XRP pump, it seems like. But in all seriousness, folks, our markets are completely desensitized to these events, to the economic data that's really hasn't been that amazing, to the tariff war, to World War III. All of these events we've just been desensitized to. We are programmed to buy the dip. And if they do send the aliens, you know what I'm going to be doing. And I'm just hoping that the aliens don't bring a bunch of silver, because currently we have a shortage in silver. And this is setting us up for one of the best breakouts. We haven't seen silver trading at these levels for about 13 years. Set to have the highest weekly close here. Check it out. Peter Brandt on his chart, he has silver. He says, while not technically a cup and handle, the chart nevertheless could support an advance to $95 per ounce if overhead resistance is hurdled. True for paper silver as well as physical silver. How about a $95 per ounce silver? Now, as long as the aliens don't bring any silver with us and mess up our supply-demand dynamics on the precious metals, we should be good, right? We'll see how it goes. And we got the precious metals linked up down below too if you're looking to get some of those. 675 million liquidated from the cryptocurrency market in the past 24 hours. If you survived over the past 24 hours and really over the past few days, congratulations. You're ready to ride out the rest of the bull run, because this is far from over. Now, technically speaking, in the traditional markets, a 20% drawdown is a bear market correction. And so we're at about 19% is what I'm pulling on this correction from 366 all the way down here to 296. Basically a 60-cent drop in XRP's price. And this is what's really messing with folks, even myself. Even I almost got liquidated too, because these swings are just massive on XRP now, right? It used to take us months to move, 5 or 10 cents. And now we're doing, 10, 20 cents in a day. I mean, you look at this one daily candle on the chart right here. We were up at 355 and we dropped all the way down to 305, a 50-cent swing in one day. But so yesterday, Thursday, we got that low of 296 that came in. And then today we did backtest $3. If you actually zoomed in on the hourly chart, which I'm not going to do, you would see that we actually had a couple bounces back here. And so we closed off the day at 314. Not much volume came in today, not much activity. But XRP, holding $3 pretty strong right here. And I think that it will continue to do so because there's just still so many people that are looking to pad their bags and stack it up as low as possible. And so folks are front running this, not just in my community. We talk about this in my Discord group, but other people are, starting to catch wind of this as well, that you can't wait around. You can't try to just time the bottoms. And, the people that have been expecting XRP to go back to these real low prices, well, they've all basically, lost out, been liquidated, or basically ran for the hills, and they're hiding, right? They're missing in action now. All the full-time fudsters and these trader bros that said that XRP had to go back to 80 cents. It has to go back to $1. Sell now at $2. Don't be greedy. All these guys are gone, right? And so hopefully they were able to stack some XRP before we reclaim $3. And the structure here is still fantastic. It's still very bullish. Once again, we were at $1.90 just a month ago on June 22nd. And so a little over a month here, we pump all the way up to $3.60, a massive run up, and we pull back 19%, and folks want to call it the bear market. Oh, bring it back home, rein it on in. That's it. Party's over. Wrap it on up. That's the end of the bull run. Not even close. And XRP still has a long ways to go. Bitcoin's at 117,500 and Ethereum is at 3,700 as I record this update. It's almost 8 o'clock on the West Coast, so it's a little bit later. But let's continue on here. I've been telling you to. Everybody and their brothers coming for your XRP. You already know the deal. The next one is more markets. Introducing XRP Earn Account. Our first yield product is now live. Over 2.5 million already deposited. Earn up to 5% APY on your XRP while keeping full control of your assets, or so they say. Yeah, we're going to be looking at that one a little bit closer, aren't we? And so they go on to say what their program is in very, very general terms, why XRP's bullish. They want to kiss our butt, basically, so that they can get our XRP. You're seeing this from the same group. Now that XRP's starting to take control and basically owning this bull run with Bitcoin, now everybody and their brothers talking highly about XRP. Oh, XRP's a great deal, $200 billion asset. You guys got a great ecosystem. We love the XRP family. Everybody wants to join the XRP family now. And we say, come on in, right? We got the XRP family hats available for them. Right? They just head on over to my website, zachrector.com, and we got it up at the shop for them if they really want to show their commitment to the XRP family. And maybe they could, rep some XRP family hats before they take in a few more million of our XRP. And even if they don't want my hats, that's fine. I just want them to tell us where the yield's coming from. And many people, they see 5% APY on my XRP. Oh, sure. Here you go. Have at it. Good luck. God bless. Hope it works out. Not me, okay? And I hope not you. No, I'm not saying that this is bad or good. I'm just saying they're being very vague in how they are generating the yield. And this is what concerns me with all of these programs. I go to their website, which most people won't do. They're just going to focus on the 5% APY, take my XRP, instead of actually looking at this. Where does the yield come from? And so on this post right here, it's a blog post, how it works, DeFi earnings made simple. Right, because if you go back to this Twitter post right here, they don't explain. How does it work? Deposit XRP, your funds are deployed into curated DeFi strategies, and then you can withdraw anytime. Simple, powerful, and built for everyone. It's just that simple, folks. Give them your XRP, they put it to work in curated DeFi strategies, and you make money. How about that? Then you look into it, they don't give any detail. In simple terms, More Markets has created a system that gives XRP holders a staking-like experience, yeah, okay, by tapping into curated DeFi opportunities. Thank you, pass. When you deposit XRP into the vault, your funds are automatically deployed into vetted on-chain strategies, such as providing liquidity or lending in decentralized finance. No details, no protocols. Just trust us, bro. This all happens behind the scenes. You don't need to move funds between protocols and understand yield farming. That's the best part, guys. You don't need to understand this at all. Just trust them. Just send them your XRP. And I'm joking, by the way, if you can't tell. Okay. More markets handles the complexity while you watch your XRP balance grow. If it sounds too good to be true, folks, I'm not saying thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm just saying take a look, ask simple questions, maybe ask them to show their faces, which most of these projects don't do that either. And when you ask simple questions, like where does the yield come from, and they can't answer the question in one simple, straightforward sentence, run. I'm not here to give you financial advice, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I will be running. I will be laughing these guys out of the room because there's just no way you're going to get my XRP by telling me that you have curated and vetted DeFi strategies. So does every other DeFi bro that has his shirt taken from him right now. Are you kidding me? Let's get real here. And so I'm calling out everybody to step up your game before you ask for our XRP, please. Please do better. I'm going to do everything in my power to put the feet to, these guys' feet to their fire and hold these guys accountable, because I just think you got to do better. Even if your program and plan is going to work out, I want it to. We all want yield on our XRP and to be able to borrow against our XRP. But if you can't answer it in one simple sentence how the yield is generated, that's not a program that I'm going to be participating in. Thank you very much. Okay? But hey, I just wanted to bring it to your attention that they're going to be coming. And I want you guys to be ready to conduct your due diligence on all of these DeFi platforms before you give up your XRP. And why? Because the 4-year cycle's over. Now, I'm not asking whether or not the 4-year cycle's over. I'm telling you the 4-year cycle has already shifted. It's already been disrupted. And we knew that when Bitcoin went to a new all-time high before the halving back in March of last year, 2024. Why did that happen? The ETFs. What's happening now for XRP? It's already at an all-time high before the ETFs go live. So I don't know about the new mass and the common core mass, but when I went to school, 2 + 2 still equaled 4. XRP's at an all-time high before the ETFs have gone live. Simple math. Conservative assumptions on the inflows takes us a lot higher. And the next thing that this does is it helps us establish a new floor price after we hit that cycle top. We basically exhaust out all of the buyers, all the people that want to come in. The top comes in, and then we come back down. But are we going to see a big 60, 70, 80% drawdown? And is that drawdown going to be extended through a consolidation of 3-4 years? I don't see it, and neither does Matt Hoogan, who is the Chief Investment Officer at Bitwise. Why is the 4-year cycle dead? 1, the forces that have created prior 4-year cycles are weaker. The halving is half as important every 4 years. The interest rate cycle is positive for crypto, not negative as it was in 2018 and 2022. The blow-up risk is attenuated due to improving regulation in the institutionalization of this space. Scammers are getting called out, right? You got rules and regulations now that we got to follow. The biggest emergent cyclical style risk is the rise of treasury companies, which bears watching and is significant. Once again, we already see upwards of about $1 billion of corporate treasury commitments for XRP. This is just the start of a list of basically a dozen public companies that are adding XRP to their balance sheet as a treasury reserve. The party's just getting started. Reason number 2. There are bigger forces moving on timelines that don't sync with the prior 4-year cycles. The movement of assets into ETFs is a 5 to 10 year trend. Folks, JP Morgan predicted 4 to 8 billion of inflows year 1. Okay, that's not the end of the story though. That's not the end of the journey, right? This is a 5 to 10 year trend of basically consistent inflows into these ETFs for good utility assets like XRP. It started in 2024. Broader institutional adoption is just getting started. ETFs still being approved on national account platforms, pensions and endowments just now considering crypto. We still don't have the XRP spot ETFs or basket ETFs that include XRP Live, right? Right now, institutions can really only get exposure to Bitcoin and Ethereum. And what a shame that is, right? Regulatory progress began in earnest in January 25 and will run for multiple years. Wall Street is just now starting to build on crypto and will invest billions in the quarters and years to come. This started in earnest with the passage of the Genius Act this month. All of this suggests to me that the long-term pro-crypto forces will overwhelm the classic 4-year cycle forces to the extent those exist, and that 2026 will be a good year. I could be wrong, and I'm certain that there will be significant volatility, and I think it's more sustained, steady boom than super cycle. I like that, right? Sustained, steady boom. I like that. But I broadly think that we're in for a good few years. Now, I played a clip from this last night's live show of James Seyffert and Matt Hugin, who both agreed that the XRP ETFs are going to see more inflows initially than the Solana ETFs. Now, they still kind of, James threw in a little sneak diss on the XRP community, said that the smart money's still in Solana, yada, yada, yada. You know the deal. When you hang out with the traditional finance guys, when you hang out with the VC pump gang, that's what happens, James. Okay, you need to set down the Kool-Aid from the VC pump gang and get tapped in. But even guys like that respect the XRP family, and they respect the XRP ecosystem that's growing massively. And he knows that a lot of people want to get exposure through the XRP ETFs. So even though he has to throw in his sneak diss, even though he has to say that smart money's in Solana, more money's coming into XRP. Now, I want to clarify, though, I do still think that we see 50% drawdowns on the way up, and then after we top out. So as we're going up, right, could XRP go up to $10, pull back to $5, and then continue higher to 15 or $20? Yes. And during that 50% pullback, people will be thinking it's the end of the world. I mean, you think it was a gut punch? Just consider how you felt this past week watching XRP go from $3.60 to $3. Consider what it's going to do when it goes from 10 to 5. And you're going to get wiped out if you're not ready to stomach that. You're going to call it quits. Wait, throw in, count your chips, right? Go cash them in. Just, this is it. I'm done. And it's going to go from 10 to 5. And then it's going to bounce all the way back up and go set a new all-time high at 15 or $20. And that's going to wreck people. It's going to wreck people on the way up because we'll still see these big drawdowns while we climb. And then eventually we will top out. $20-$30 is my prediction for this cycle. And then I do think that we see a 50% drawdown. So 20 back to 10, 30 back to 15. We still are going to see big drawdowns, but are we going to see the extended bear market? And I'll be happy as can be if we can establish a floor price of XRP up at 10 or $15 in 2026, right? XRP runs up, does something crazy, and then we come back down and we establish that floor at 10, $15. And then like he says, he describes it as a sustained, steady boom. So, we fall back down a little bit, establish a floor, and then the inflows just keep coming back in. The utility, adoption, treasury management, all of it. Joe Blow schmoes like us just trying to pick up little bags of XRP. And folks used to talk about, I'm working on stacking up my first 10,000 XRP. Now I'm seeing folks talk about stacking up their first 1,000 XRP. We enter a reality down the road here where folks are literally just going to be happy to have 1,000 XRP. Folks are going to be happy to just have an XRP wallet and to be able to participate in this ecosystem. Okay, so I do think that we will see drawdowns, but are we going to see the bear market like we've seen in the past? I don't think so. And I want everybody to be prepared for that. And I want you to know that when it comes to taking out loans against my XRP, DeFi, all of that, I am waiting for us to run up, come back down, and establish that floor price. Regulations will be established. We'll start to see a track record from all these DeFi providers. And we can say, okay, what have you done in the past year? What's your track record been? How is that yield being generated? Right? And we'll be able to ask those questions, and they should be able to give us back hard data. No longer hype. No, right now it's all hypotheticals. Trust me, bro. Curated DeFi strategies. We got quant analysis that we're going to put on it. These guys are pulling terms out of their you-know-what to get your XRP. So in the meantime, let's stay safe. Let's watch all these get built out. Let's let the inflows come in. XRP is on its way to a new all-time high once again here shortly. Double digits in the not too distant future. And I still think that we're on track for a $7 to $15 XRP by September 7th. $20 to $30 XRP by the top of this cycle. And a new floor price for XRP on the other side of this above double digits. That's how I think this plays out if you guys want my full answer. Okay? Discord weekly call tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Get tapped in with us if you want to join us. Other than that, hope everybody has a great weekend. God bless you all. Thank you so much.